Welcome to another episode of our weekly News You Can Use Week in Review on the JonBownePolitix channel. I'm John Bowne. It's November the 12th, 2017. Last Sunday, the largest mass shooting in Texas took the lives of 26 people, including an unborn child. Stephen Williford heroically used his AR-15 to stop the Sutherland Springs church shooter. The shooter had a violent past and should not have legally been able to purchase a firearm, according to the United States Air Force. The U.S. Air Force neglected to enter the gunman's name into a database, which would have prevented him from legally purchasing a gun, stemming from a court-martial he had received for domestic violence. This error allowed the killer to purchase a gun legally. The murderer, Devin Kelly, had a violent past and had assaulted his wife and her toddler, cracking the boy's skull.
On Tuesday, the killer's dark past came into sharper focus. A sex assault investigation in 2013, an escape from a mental health facility, and a 2012 El Paso police report that described him as a danger to himself and others. He had been sneaking firearms into Holloman Air Force Base, where he was stationed, and made death threats to his commanding officers. 5 months later, he was convicted of beating his then wife and stepchild.
Kelly had also escaped from a mental hospital and faced allegations of sexual assault prior to his shooting spree in Texas. Sutherland Springs resident Stephen Williford, who engaged in a shootout with Kelly, stated on Louder with Crowder that he would not have been able to stop the shooter without his AR-15. A gun perpetually demonized by the media and lawmakers.
Because I had the presence of mind to look at what was going on, and as we exchanged fire, I noticed that the side was one of those tactical vests that velcros across, meaning he has Kevlar in the front, Kevlar in the back, nothing in the side.
How far away was he at this point, for context, would you say?
20 yards.
Okay, so 20 yards, so you can see that clearly, and someone like you is trained with firearms, 20 yards is well within what you would practice with.
I had a AR-15 with an EOTech on it.
Sure.
And I trained at 20 yards. That's no real great, amazing shot. I shot between the two Kevlar plates.
Well, that is a great shot with the not to just heap praise, because I know everyone else will, but to have that frame of mind and, like you said, that foresight. I know people are going to be asking, did this come with your NRA instructor training, military background? Because most people would not think to look for this, to be aware of your surroundings. It is remarkable.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I can't explain the clarity of mind that I had. I can't explain it. And not only that, but I was using the neighbor's Dodge pickup truck. He had a four-wheel drive Dodge pickup truck in his driveway, and I was using it. All he had for a shot for me is my head, because I was behind the truck and using it for cover.
Okay.
And we exchanged fire, and he hit the neighbor's car's windshield. He hit the neighbor's house. And he got into the vehicle, and I fired it again. And he fired two more shots through his side. Well, actually, he fired two shots through his side window first. And I noticed the two distinct pistol shots coming through the sides of the window. And I fired my AR-15 again, and it took the window down. It fell.
Okay.
And I took another shot. And at this point, I'm shooting where his head would be.
Right.
And he started the vehicle, and he turned down 539, which is a highway, and he took off. And I took one more shot at what I perceived would be about his head through the back windshield, and it shattered.
Okay.
And he blasted down the road. I looked to my left, and there was another pickup truck at the stop sign that apparently witnessed the whole thing. And I ran up and I tapped on his window, and I said, that guy just shot up the Baptist church, and we've got to stop him. He unlocked his door, and we gave pursuit.
USA Today highlighted the murderer's gun, a Ruger AR-556, in a video on Twitter that showed the weapon in a wide variety of modifications, including a chainsaw bayonet. Predictably, this was virally mocked on Twitter, with users posting other possible modifications, ranging from leaf blowers to lightsabers, illustrating the absurd hysteria of proponents of gun control who lack basic firearms training. President Trump, in Tokyo on his Asian tour, took time to comment on the tragedy and highlighted the murderer's mental instability in tweets.
Americans do what they do best. We pull together. We join hands, we lock arms, and through the tears and through the sadness, we stand strong, oh so strong.
Another scandal involving offshore accounts reminiscent of the Panama Papers has emerged and is being dubbed as the Paradise Papers. The list of offshore account holders leaked to a German newspaper includes many notable people such as Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, and the President of Colombia. Information on people and organizations from at least 30 different countries are included in the leak. Infuriatingly, these leaks prove once again that greed breeds further greed, and that for some people no amount of money will ever be enough, since the primary reason to hoard money offshore is to avoid taxes and conceal wealth. The average taxpayer can be excused if the revelations in the Paradise Papers evoke outrage and strong disdain for our current tax laws.
Now, a huge leak of documents has revealed the ultra-rich, including Britain's Queen Elizabeth's private estate, secretly invested in offshore tax havens. Now, according to leaked papers, which were first reported in Britain, around $13 million of the Queen's money was placed in funds held in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda. Now, the money was reportedly reinvested in an array of businesses, including a controversial rent-to-buy retailer which has been accused of exploiting the poor. U.S. President Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is also among those implicated. He's revealed to have a stake in a firm dealing with Russians sanctioned by Washington. New leak, dubbed the Paradise Papers, was made public by the U.S.-based International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which was also behind the 2015 release of the Panama Papers.
This graphic here, Simon, I mean, this was something that you put up in the New York Times today. This is the sort of money, the amounts of cash that are being held overseas by American companies. $236 billion from dollar there, Pfizer, Microsoft, all household names. I mean, why are American companies such grandmasters, as I think someone said, of keeping this sort of cash overseas?
Well, I mean, it's a peculiarity of the US tax code. The way that the rules mesh with the rules for the rest of the world means that it's quite easy for US companies to access very low tax rates overseas, but it's very hard for them to then bring those profits back to the US without facing extremely heavy tax rates. So that's why it all gets locked up in between.
Also is revealing something brand new about Milner's Facebook money. It came directly from a Putin-run company. How much? Well, the amount, over $900 million, routed from the Kremlin's Gazprom oil company to another company in the British Virgin Islands, which bought most of Milner's company. It's a financial line that eventually reaches Facebook, and you don't need to be a Kremlin expert to know you don't get that kind of money from Putin's own companies without at least keeping in touch.
Saudi Arabia is experiencing internal and external strife, currently detaining 11 princes and 4 government ministers. The arrests or detentions follow the creation of an anti-corruption commission and seem to be in line with Saudi's stated goals of modernization and moderation of the religious extremism that the kingdom is known for. However, some analysts see the arrests as a power grab by Prince Salman, who some say is already the de facto king.
Change is coming to Saudi Arabia. Change is coming on social, on political, but also now on economic level. So, yes, as you said, Maria, it's about corruption. And the move is very big because those who have been arrested are big players in the Saudi and world economy, as you just mentioned.
Attention of influential royals, including one of the world's richest men, investor Prince Al-Walid bin Talal. The economy minister was also dismissed, as well as the head of the National Guard, who led one of the few security service branches not already under the Crown Prince's control.
Why connect the anti-corruption campaign, if that's what it is, to the removal of the commander of the National Guard?
Thomas Lipman is with the Middle East Institute.
I think this is designed to send a message, which they've been sending louder and louder for the past several months, that you will get with the program and one man is in charge.
The actions consolidate power into the hands of 32-year-old Mohammed bin Salman, who is next in line to the Saudi throne.
With the arrests, the Crown Prince Mohammed, King Salman's favored son and key advisor, now appears to have established control over all 3 Saudi security services: the military, internal security services, and the National Guard. For decades, they had been distributed among the branches of the House of Saud's clan to preserve a balance of power in Saudi Arabia. Mohammed bin Salman's mass purge is not only restricted to his immediate family. Over the last several weeks, he has ordered enough high-profile arrests of intellectuals and clerics to frighten the remainder of the academic and religious establishment into accepting his will. MBS has claimed that Saudi Arabia wants to return to moderate Islam. However, his support for radicals in Yemen may point that this is just a ploy.
Regardless of speculation, one thing is certain: oil prices are rising. Saudi Arabia's proxy war with Iran and Yemen is hitting closer to home for the kingdom. Riyadh recently intercepted a ballistic missile aimed at the capital's main airport.
A diplomat added that the Saudi-led coalition has failed to reach any of its declared goals in Yemen, and it's now trying to begin a psychological war by leveling unfounded accusations against others. Saudi Arabia has accused Iran of giving missiles to Yemen's Ansar Allah forces and that it could consider the strike as an act of war.
Iran was immediately blamed by the kingdom for the strike, a charge Iran denies responsibility for, but Yemen's crippling poverty, disease, and internally displaced citizens do make Iran's denial seem suspicious.
Well, Saudi Arabia is leading a campaign against Yemen and has been for quite some time now, that is with airstrikes on weddings, and it's been absolutely brutal. 10,000 are dead. In addition, Saudi Arabia has imposed a siege which has now created the worst cholera outbreak in human history, in which as many as 1 million people are affected, including 600,000 children.
After Saudi Arabia accused Lebanon of declaring war on the kingdom on Monday, the Lebanese prime minister resigned and has fled or been ferried to Riyadh, causing Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Kuwait to urge their citizens to leave Lebanon in anticipation of war. Both Israel and Saudi Arabia fear further Iranian influence in Lebanon, and the current situation is very tense.
It was an announcement few were expecting.
I hereby announce my resignation as Prime Minister from the Lebanese government, knowing that the will of the Lebanese is stronger and their determination is steadfast and will overcome any attempts to impose any custodianship over them from powers either inside or outside our country. Long live the people of Lebanon.
Trump had harsh words for North Korea and Japan and South Korea. In China, Trump, the consummate businessman, expressed understanding of China's economic manipulation with regard to the United States, while also making clear that the U.S. would no longer stand for it. His visit to China seemed to focus on economics first and North Korea's aggression second. Trump protesters clashed with police in the Philippines, though the meeting between Trump and Duterte was amiable enough. In Vietnam, Trump called Vietnam a great miracle and said that the U.S. and Vietnam had come a long way in diplomatic relations. Trump also met with President Putin in Vietnam and remarked that he believed the Russian leader had no part in interfering with the 2016 U.S. election, to the shock and dismay of many news organizations. Thanks for watching. We hope that we have provided you with news you can use. You can find JonBownePolitix on Twitter or Gab. Get in touch. We read all comments and often follow back. If you like this video, please click the button. It helps the YouTube robots show our videos to more people. If you're feeling charitable, share our work on your social media. If you have a question or a story you'd like to see us cover, please leave us a comment. Have a great week. We hope to talk to you soon.